So how do you get what you want? You ask. That's it. You ask. You ask. You ask for what you want. Hello, hello. Good morning. Happy day. You are listening to the Business of Happiness podcast, and I am your host, Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy. Welcome to the show. Welcome to today. Today is going to be such a great day. Today we're talking about getting everything you want. How to get everything you want. Isn't that amazing? That's what we're talking about. I mean, is there another podcast in this world where you literally are going to learn how to get what you want? Incredible. I am just having such a great day, and I'm so pumped to be here. And I hope you can kind of feel my energy over the waves here, the internet waves, or however you're receiving this podcast, if you're watching it on YouTube, because we can all share a little bit of energy with one another and really uplift one another. So use this, my friends. Use this, this positivity, this inspiration, this opportunity for optimism and insight and hope, and how to wrap our heads around how to get everything you want. So as we go through this episode today, I'm going to share with you an experience I had in practice last week, a story at the dental office of how I literally created my reality, how I got exactly what I was asking for during the day, in that day. So I'm not just talking about how to get what you want in your lifetime. I'm talking about today, how to get what you want today, how you're already creating what you're getting from the world around you and from your reality. It's a little bit of the science behind it from a neuroscience, psychological background. And then I'm going to give you some great tips and tools of how to really strategize and literally manifest what you want in this world. And be sure to stay till the end of the episode, because I'm going to share with you my favorite and the most powerful way. And it's not what you think. Spoiler alert, not what you think. And then I'm also going to invite you to an incredible, fun masterclass that I can't wait to tell you about coming up in May. So stick through with the whole episode here, my friends. I want to kick us off with this story that I promised I'd tell you. Last Thursday, I was in the office in my orthodontic practice. And this story, by the way, is going to resonate with so many of you because you've lived this story in some form in your work. I had a beautiful day, busy, full day, meeting lots of patients. In orthodontics, if you're not in the orthodontic world, we see incredible numbers. When I tell other medical specialists, it blows their minds. But literally on this day, I had what we would consider a fairly slow day. I think I only had about 47 patients. Anyway, 6 of them were brand new patients. And we started out the day with this really great young man. And he had a skeletal presentation of his bottom jaw growing more than his top jaw, what we call in dentistry a class 3 skeletal pattern. You know, like you can picture that Jay Leno look, right? The bottom jaw outgrowing the top jaw. And handsome young man, you know, in his early teens. So he's got a lot more growth on him. And so he's just not ready for braces right now. And we talked about it, and we talked about his growth pattern, and he was really pumped because he didn't want braces anyway. And I was just telling him, you're not ready, dude. We got to watch you grow. You've still got a lot of growth left, and your bottom jaw is going to keep growing. In boys, it's one of the last bones in your body to complete growth. So we're going to see you in a year and just follow you and watch your beautiful growth pattern and treat you when the time is right. Well, it was a great meeting of this family, and I love to get to know them, and it was really interesting to get to know his passions and the family. It was a really cool way to start my day, and I was enjoying the appointment. And then, you know, chatting with some other patients as I was going through the morning, and then the time came for my second new patient, and my treatment coordinator came and she said, "You're not going to believe it. It's another class 3 patient. This time it's an adult." So wouldn't you know, here we go, take a peek. And it was this really wonderful woman in her 30s who truly had a much larger bottom jaw than her top jaw. And she was looking for some support in her underbite. And I said to Jody, oh, isn't this so interesting? We're getting all the class 3 growers today. And she said, yeah, that's true. We got 2 in a row here. And you can already anticipate, if you're a healthcare provider, you already know the rest of the story, because you know that we have theme days where it's unbelievable that almost every patient that we see has the same presentation or an aspect of their presentation that is the same. Now, granted, I saw a young man who was 14, and then I saw a woman in her 30s, different genders, different ages, totally different personalities. But what I was seeing was the similarity of their growth pattern and their jaw discrepancy, right? Wouldn't you know, as soon as I recognized that, it was true for the whole schedule. All of my patients were class 3 tendency patients. All of my patients in that schedule that day tended to have larger bottom jaws. And patient number 3, new patient number 3, same presentation. Every single new patient except for one. So 5 out of 6 new patients on my day last Thursday presented with the same skeletal pattern. And we noticed it in the morning. And all through the day, I was noticing what an unusually large number of patients in my regularly scheduled day were class 3 skeletal patients. And that's super unusual. I mean, about maybe 15% of our patients are class 3 growers, maybe 20, but I think it's more like 15 according to the orthodontic literature. And I was seeing a majority on this one day. And there was no way that we could have manipulated the schedule that way without knowing it. I mean, you'd have to be really skilled and have a lot of time on your hands to sort through all my patients and find all the class 3 growers and make sure they all had schedules that coordinated to come in on that specific day. That morning, I had set into my awareness class 3 growers. I even voiced it and I said, oh my gosh, it looks like we have a theme today, Jody. That's my treatment coordinator. Jody said, yeah, you're right. We got a theme going today on the second new patient exam. Exactly what I was asking for came to me. We almost put it out into the universe, and wouldn't you know, that is what we saw for the day. We were literally asking for what we wanted, and the universe provided. I'm not kidding you. How many of you are remembering right now a day where you might have looked at the schedule ahead of time and thought, oh my gosh, it looks like we're going to have all patients from this town today. Or this is going to be one of those days we have all patients with moms who are complaining. Or look at the schedule. We're going to have all patients who are behind in their payments. And how true has that been for you? How to get what you want is very simple, because we always get what we're asking for. That's it. What are you asking for? And I'm going to share with you why this works from a psychological perspective. This isn't voodoo. This isn't magic. This isn't some cosmic trick being played on you. You are creating your own reality. And how to get what you want is paying attention to what you are asking for. That's it. That's it. That's how we get what we want in our world. What are you asking for? Isn't that incredible? That morning, I asked for patients who had larger bottom jaws than top jaws, and that's what I got. Now, you might say, well, this is silly, Tarryn. Those patients were already scheduled in the schedule long before you asked. Some of those patients have been in there for months on that schedule. It wasn't like I got there that morning, I asked for it, and suddenly the schedule rearranged itself. How is that possible? Well, I'll tell you. Your brain has an incredibly fascinating component to it. We know that our human brains love pattern recognition. It's something we thrive on. It's how we've created new things. It's how we've figured out mathematical algorithms. It's how we've solved science's biggest questions. It's how medicine came to be. It's how we've done research. It's why we love Sudoku. It's why we love puzzles. Our brains love pattern recognition. It is what we thrive on. It's how we learn. It's how we grow. Well, another part of our brains is that our brains are so powerful, but we can't tolerate all the information coming into us. If we were to pay attention to every sound and smell and sight and texture and thought and, bird flying by, we would be so inundated with stimulus that we would explode. We wouldn't be able to focus on anything. You couldn't be listening to this podcast right now if you were also paying attention to the humming of the air conditioner, to the sound of your dog in the corner breathing deeply, to the people driving by on the road outside. If you were paying attention to all those things, you wouldn't be receiving the information I'm giving you right now in this podcast. So what your brain is actually doing is actually narrowing it for you. Isn't that incredible? It's our reticular activating system. Your reticular activating system is actually deleting and quietening, deafening, getting rid of, compiling and putting together certain pieces of information and categorizing them so that it can minimize the number of pieces of information that actually make it to your conscious awareness. It's like a filter. It's like a huge sieve. It's taking all this incredible information, whirling and spinning all around you and narrowing it down to the things that you need to pay attention to, the things that it wants you to pay attention to. In fact, what's happening is 11 billion bits, and that is scientifically founded. 11 billion bits of information are coming at you at any one moment, and your reticular activating system is filtering it down to 40. That's it, 40, not 40 billion, 40. It's taking the 11 billion bits of information and narrowing it down to 40 because that's all our little minds can manage. How cool is that? So in that moment where I said larger bottom jaw than top jaw growers in my patients today, my brain said, okay, thank you for giving me instruction on what to filter out. I'm going to make sure you look specifically for patients who have that presentation. That's it. On any other day, I might not even have noticed. Is it unusual to have a patient with a larger bottom jaw than a top jaw? Not at all. Remember, people come to my office because they want their teeth to bite down against each other better, because they want their smiles to look better. They don't know what's going on. But I get the people whose teeth are not biting down together perfectly, or that their smiles are not looking harmonious. So of course there are patients in my office who have larger bottom jaws than top jaws. It's one of the reasons you'd come to see me. On any other day, I might not even have noticed the percentage, but I told my reticular activating system, that's what I'm looking for. I've noticed a little pattern in the schedule today. Now give me more evidence of it. You getting what I'm saying? We get what we ask for. Isn't that incredible? And the part of this that I want you to pay attention to is, remember I said 11 billion down to 40? That means that at any one moment, exactly what we might be looking for is in the 11 billion. Whether it be, I want to see all the people who are out there who are kind, loving people. There are 11 billion bits of information coming at you. Whether it's a kind, loving person that you see on your Instagram app, or a kind, loving person whose phone number pops up on your phone when you open it, or a kind, loving person who walks into your medical practice, or a kind, loving person who sends you a text, you will start seeing all day long evidence of kind, loving people. Would they have done that anyway? Maybe. But you might not have noticed because your reticular activating system was deleting it or categorizing it or generalizing it for your ability to consume all that information. So how do you get what you want? You ask. That's it. You ask. You ask. You ask for what you want. And here's the other crazy thing I'm going to tell you right now. You're already doing it. What? You're already asking for what you want. You're just being a little bit messy about it, because what you don't realize is you're asking also for things you don't want. Hey guys, I'm interrupting your podcast episode to let you know about an incredible new program that I'm launching in January of 2023. It is specifically for practitioners in medicine and dentistry to help you rediscover happiness and inner fulfillment within your profession and your life. I remember what it was like for me when years ago I was so depressed and anxious and feeling like I had created and built a treadmill I just couldn't get off of, pushing through every day and wishing my life away. This program is the how of how to find happiness in your practice and in your life, because we know that when we feel good, that's when we can do good. Check out thebizofhappiness.com/radical happiness, or click the link in the show notes. I cannot wait to see you there. So when you get up in the morning and you say, oh my God, it's going to be such a tough day, guess what? You just asked for such a tough day. Every moment and every opportunity for new information, for new evidence of it being such a tough day is going to filter straight through your reticular activating system and light you up to show you, there you go. Your mind does what it thinks you want it to do. That is a foundational mind law. Your mind does exactly what it thinks you want it to do. Oh my gosh, my husband's being so irritating. Guess what? He's going to be irritating all day. Would he have been any different? I don't know, but you've just put it out there for your reticular activating system to recognize every irritating pattern and behavioral habit pattern all day long. Every word he says, you're going to see differently. Your pattern recognition in your brain is going to be lit up, and you are a master at it. So you're already getting exactly what you're asking for. All I'm saying is pay attention to what you're asking for. That's the answer. That's the answer. So how do we do that? Well, we've got some great clues to pay attention to. Number one, what is the language you're using? Your words. Your words are a huge indicator of where your focus and attention is, where and what you are asking for. So you heard in my story, I said out loud, wow, we've got a little theme going on here. We've got class 3 growers all day. Boom. My words spoke where my attention was. Your language is often an indicator of where your focus is. So if your language is, oh, I feel so exhausted, boom, your language is showing you where your focus and attention is. That's what you're asking for. That's what you're asking your reticular activating system to narrow down and show you examples of where you're so exhausted. Show me more. Show me more. You can wake up with the exact same feeling in your body and think to yourself, wow, I am so resilient. I didn't get a lot of great sleep last night, but man, I can just bring on the intention. I can bring on the energy. And then your reticular activating system is going to show you again and again and again opportunities of how to energetically show up We've done that before. You have experience of that in your life before, where all the math adds up to you should be tired, but man, you've got energy today. And you're energized and fueled by other people. I started out this podcast saying, take some of my energy, friend. Use some of this. Feel this energetic excitement in my voice and in my presence and in the way I'm showing up, and let that wash over you. I was guiding your focus and attention. Isn't that interesting? So our words are huge indicators. Paying attention to your words. And some of us have fallen habitually into a certain language pattern of complaining or maybe of optimism. So where do you fall? Are your words empowering or are they disempowering? And I mean of yourself. Have you fallen to a natural habit of depressing, defeating, disempowering language? Because when you have, it is a beautiful indicator of what you are asking your reticular activating system to show you. Or can you start turning that language around and start using some more positive language? You know, people say to me, Tarryn, how are you happy all the time? I'm not. But guess what? My natural language is very optimistic. And my focus and attention is always on where can I find more joy and enjoyment in my day? I literally have the word happiness printed on my wall behind me if you're watching on the YouTube channel. My business name is the Business of Happiness. My focus is on what brings me joy. Of course, I'm asking for it. And of course, I'm seeing more of it. And when you ask for something, the universe always provides. Always. Isn't that incredible? So number two indicator to know where your focus and attention is, it's on your thoughts. Now, this is a tricky one because if you lived in my world, if you have been a student of Radical Happiness for Practitioners, you already know this fact, but maybe this is the first time anybody's ever told you. You are not your thoughts. In fact, your thoughts are optional. Any thought you have, you can choose a new thought. Let's do it right now. Just pay attention to your thought right now. Maybe your thought was, she is crazy and this is a crazy podcast. I'm going to stop listening. Did I find your thought? Or was your thought, oh, wait a minute, I heard this somewhere. Pay attention just for a moment. Stop what you're doing. Just recognize what thought is going through your head right now. See if you can catch it. Kind of like those butterfly catchers we used to have as children. See if you can just catch that thought. What was it? Now, just as an exercise, choose a new one. In fact, choose the opposite one. Just try it on for size. So if maybe you thought, oh my gosh, Tarryn's crazy. This is a ridiculous concept. If that was your thought, flip it for me just for a moment and intentionally choose the thought, wow, this is perhaps Tarryn's most phenomenal, foundationally exceptional perspective. This is maybe the most important thing she's ever said. Just for a moment, hold that new thought. Or if your thought was, oh, I thought I heard it before. I read that somewhere in a book. Choose a new thought. No, wait a minute. I've never heard it like this before. Just change your thought just for a moment to the exact opposite. If you happen to be thinking, oh, I'm loving this beautiful day, just for a moment, choose, this is actually not such a great day. Just for an experiment. You get to choose a thought. You are capable. Our thoughts are not a definition of who we are. In fact, most of the time, our thoughts are not true. What? That is the truth. You get to choose a new thought. Have you ever had a thought and thought, whoa, that's weird? Why did I just think that? That's not a thought. I mean, I've done that before where I'm driving and I think, wow, wouldn't it be weird if I just kind of drove off into that ditch? And I've caught myself and I thought, what a weird, crazy thought. No, where did that thought come from? Guess what? Instead of belaboring that thought, instead of giving it any credence, instead of worrying about it and adding a whole new layer of fear into my world, I just, in that moment, choose a new thought. So our thoughts are great indicators of where our focus and attention is as well. So when I say, wow, there's some class 3 growers on my schedule today, guess what happened right before I spoke that? I had the thought. I had the pattern recognition and the thought and the immediate identification of the pattern of my day, and that thought was in my head. So when you can get really practiced at this, and once again, my radical happiness practitioners are expert at this, when you get really practiced at it, you're aware of every thought you think. And you're also aware of the power you have over your thoughts and the power to choose a new thought. So your thoughts are indicators of your focus and attention as well. Number 3 indicator, your beliefs. Now we're talking about subconscious programming, my friends. And this is the master level of radical happiness for practitioners, which is the 12-week course that I teach. But today I'm just giving you little indicators because you can do this today in this moment. What beliefs do you have? Because your beliefs are the underpinning of your experience. So if you believe nobody will ever love me, that is exactly what the universe will show you. If you believe I can do anything I put my mind to, that is exactly what the universe will show you. And your reticular activating system will filter everything else out for you so that you can get exactly what you're asking for. Amazing. Now, I promised you that I would give you as my very last indicator of where you are asking for exactly what you're getting, my favorite and the most powerful one, and here it is. So thank you for hanging with me in the last 26 minutes of this episode. And that is the indicator of your emotion. You know how the end of every episode I say, when you feel good, you can do good? I'm talking about that when you feel good part. Our emotions are indicators of what we're asking for. So if you're feeling disempowered, if you're feeling out of sorts, that is what you're going to see and filter everything else out of the way so that you can get more of what you're asking for. So paying attention to how you feel is the black belt level of how to get what you want. And giving yourself permission to change how you feel. And I don't mean suppressing emotions. I don't mean emotional bypassing. I mean giving yourself permission to do things like boundary setting, like saying no, like taking a nap, like taking a vacation, like deciding who and how you're going to show up to work every day, who you want to work with every day, choosing you first so that you feel good. I mean, those practices that value how you feel, because how you feel is an indicator of what you're asking for in your world. Did I just blow your mind? Did I just blow your mind? In fact, that phrase, when you feel good, you can do good. Let's add one more line to it. When you feel good, you can do good and you can attract good. When you feel crappy, you do crappy. You show up crappy. You practice medicine and dentistry crappy. You practice friendship crappy. You practice parenting crappy. Truth, right? And you attract more crappy. So the number one way to get what you're asking for, to get what you want, is to pay attention to how you feel and to choose you to feel better. Now, one of the things that might be coming up for you right now is a lot of fear and resistance, because all resistance is fear. And I get it. If for decades you haven't been taking care of yourself or paying attention to how you feel, if you are the person who's gone through the entire day needing to pee and not even noticing until 5 o'clock when your last patient leaves and you're bursting because you haven't even allowed yourself to go to the bathroom, or you've worked through lunch and maybe shoved some things in your mouth and didn't even notice how the food was making you feel, or eaten 3 candy bars and then you see just the wrappers on your desk and you don't even remember eating them, let alone how they made your body feel. If you are that person, I used to be that person. You're not alone. And guess what? A majority of your colleagues in medicine and dentistry are exactly that. So getting in touch with how you feel is the superpower. And if all of what I'm saying is bringing up a lot of fear and resistance and shame and guilt, which are also embedded in fear, then I'm going to ask you, join me, please, on May 5th. I'm giving a masterclass at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. It's for healthcare providers, and it's about how to face fear. And this is one of those important skills to be able to get what you want. We have to learn how to face fear. And in that masterclass, I'm going to explain why that's such an important component. So if you're interested, please text me to 207-600-2699, the word fear, 207-600-2699. I'll put a link in the show notes of this episode as well. And I'll send you information about that masterclass on May 5th, 2023. But for now, today, you've got some great indicators. You've got some great ways to be able to know what you are asking for and how to get what you want. It's so exciting. It's so amazing to know that we get to be the authors of our own reality. We get to paint the picture of our own reality. We actually get to live the life of our dreams. Boom. It's available to each and every one of us. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have so much more I could say about this. Wherever you are, thank you for everything you're doing in this world. And thank you for showing up to this episode, because it is no coincidence that you heard this message today. I know in the core of my heart and in my soul that this message was meant for you today and that you needed to hear this. You might need to go back and listen to this episode again to remember those key indicators. This is powerful. And start recognizing how when you choose your words differently, your thoughts differently, you pay attention to those core beliefs and you start paying attention to your own emotions, your whole life will change. Sending you so much love. And remember, when you feel good, you can do good, and then you can attract good. Bye-bye.